Hi everyone, it's John from What Up, and welcome back to another video. Now we have a couple of things to talk about today as far as Wheel of Time news goes, and the first one is a Donal Finn sighting in the wild. Yes, he's actually doing some theater work, and a couple of Twitter Time fans went to one of his shows and got to meet him afterwards and got his autograph. We're going to talk just a bit about that first, because it's pretty exciting. We don't know much about Donal Finn and what he's doing, and it's very rare to see any news about him whatsoever. We're also going to talk about a couple of leaked castings from our friends over at Wotseries.com, including what may be our own Season 2 version of Steve. I know some people are sour over that, but we'll talk about that too. And then we're going to end with a behind-the-scenes video that Amazon released talking about set design. It's pretty interesting. We'll touch on that, and I'll show you where you can find that. Now, if you're new to the channel and you don't know what we do here, we cover Wheel of Time show news, so anything and everything to do with Wheel of Time. So if you like that sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're also branching out into the Cosmere and a little bit of Lord of the Rings stuff too, where I'm a new fan, and I'm on the after show on Sundays. So expect to see a little bit of that stuff here and there on the channel, but mostly we cover Wheel of Time stuff. And if you like the Wheel of Time, make sure you subscribe and click that notification bell. Now, stay tuned at the end of the video for some housekeeping stuff. We're going to talk just a bit about what's going to happen in the next couple weeks with the channel, what you may or may not see from me, and also, make sure that you tune in this Tuesday for our next installment of the Talking Wheel of Time with series. Now, last week I got to talk with Claire Grant. Yes, the Claire Grant. If you haven't seen that video yet, I have a whole playlist dedicated to this on the channel here. And this Tuesday, Christy Lust will be on the channel. She's a screenwriter and Team Moraine. She's been a huge Wheel of Time fan and a member of the fandom for a number of different years. We talk about Wheel of Time for about an hour. It's a whole lot of fun. If you just like hearing about other people's opinions of Wheel of Time, how they came to the series, their favorite characters, things like that, that's the series of videos you want to watch in this channel, and they're really very cool. So make sure you don't miss that. That's every Tuesday, Talking Wheel of Time with. Now, because we're going to talk about some castings, and I have to speculate just a bit on how they're going to fit into the second season at some point during this video, I'm going to give a bit of a spoiler warning here. So, spoiler warning, if you haven't read at least the first 3 books of Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time series, that's The Eye of the World, The Great Hunt, and The Dragon Reborn, as well as have not seen the first season of Sony and Amazon's Wheel of Time show, that's episodes 1 through 8, be forewarned, I'm going to ruin plot points and character arcs from both of those mediums. Alright, all of that being said, let's get on to the video. So we're going to start with Donal Finn. For those of you who don't know, he is taking over as Matt Cawthon. So he's cast as Matt Cawthon in Season 2 and beyond, we hope, of Sony and Amazon's Wheel of Time show. Now, the running joke is they're going to recast Matt Cawthon every single year, but I don't think that's actually going to happen. For those of you that may not keep up with the news as much as other people, Barney Harris did play Matt Cawthon in the first season, and he did a bang-up job. He was a fan favorite. A lot of people really loved him. He did a fantastic job. In fact, he was my wife's absolute favorite actor and character from the first season. But he stopped after the 6th episode. Now, official reasons are kind of murky in why he left the show and what happened, but we do know that he was written into episodes 7 and 8. He planned to carry on as Matt Cawthon for the rest of the series, but something happened to cause him to leave the show, and they had to hastily rewrite the last 2 episodes and change some things around, and it really does show. If you watch episode 6, the very end of it, when they're all going through in the Waygate into the Ways, Matt Cawthon's just kind of standing there, and it kind of looks like that John Travolta meme from Pulp Fiction where he's just kind of doing this. It was really, really terrible editing. It did not go over well at all with a lot of the fans, including myself, and then we didn't see him for the last 2 episodes. So he is out, and Donal Finn is in as Matt Cawthon, and from everything I'm hearing from people that are associated with the show, so these are people actually working on the show or starring in it, he is doing a bang-up job. He's even better than Barney Harris is what I'm hearing, so I'm pretty excited to see him in the second season. But what's interesting about this is we don't hear anything about him. It was announced, and then that was it. We heard absolutely nothing else from Amazon. He hasn't made any appearances. He didn't show up at any of the cons or anything like that, which, I mean, to be fair, really almost no one else did either. Very few of the cast members have made public appearances or answered questions or done interviews since the end of the first season. I think that's mainly due to Rings of Power. But everyone's been really interested in how he's going to take Matt Cawthon, how he's going to be reintegrated into the show. Are they going to address it at all? Is it just going to happen like nothing happened at all? Are they going to make a joke like they did in Iron Man 2 when they replaced Rhodey? We have no idea. But what's really interesting here is that he is doing some theater work. So this was at the Huntington Theater in Boston. So he was actually doing a show there, and a couple of people from Twitter of Time, Bane and Shiad, they actually attended the show and waited around the lobby afterwards and got his autograph, which is really very neat. He took some time to talk with them. They mentioned that they're really excited to see him portray Matt Cawthon on the show. One of them was actually wearing a Matt Cawthon themed shirt, and he pointed it out. It was really a cool moment and one of the very few rare occurrences where someone meets one of the cast members in the wild, it's just from real life, and they actually get to talk just a bit about the show. Now, he didn't give anything away, no inside information or anything like that, but he was pretty humbled by the fact that these people were very excited to see him show up in season 2 of The Wheel of Time. And let's face it, most of us we're really excited to see his take on Matt. All right, now we're going to shift gears just a little bit and we'll talk about some leaked castings from our friends over at Wotseries.com. I've left a link to the article down below in the description box if you folks want to check it out when you're done the video, and I highly recommend you do so because not only are they a great source of Wheel of Time leaks, they're a huge pillar of the Wheel of Time community, and they're good friends of mine too. And they are absolutely amazing at what they do. Let them know you came from What Up and that you like what they're doing. Now, we're talking about this gentleman first. This is Ken Bradshaw. He's a UK actor. He's been acting since 1996, and his CV is longer than my last Costco receipt, and I have an absolutely massive family. He's done a number of different things, very broad range of talents, but you'll probably recognize him from Coronation Street, EastEnders, or perhaps Shameless, the UK version, of course. He's been in a ton of different stuff. Now, he's playing a character by the name of Asen Sandar. Now, I probably mispronounced that name, but he is a Kyrian guard that meets Rand, Loyal, and Huron during the Great Hunt, takes their names before they go into the city. That doesn't mean that will be the exact scene we see in the book. It could be absolutely anything. We may see something similar where they put him in a different city, or he is not even a guard at all. It's just the same name. He could be an innkeeper for all we know. But Rafe Judkins has gone on record to say that we're going to see Kyrian in the second season already, so I'm kind of thinking that perhaps with that name of the character and the character already being in the books, he's probably going to be that same guard, sort of a nod to the fans, and we'll get to see him, and those of us who know who he is will go, I recognize that guy. So we don't know who's going to Kyrian. We don't know who's going to be there. There's a whole lot of speculation about it. We think we've seen the Foregate before and some of the behind-the-scenes stuff that Amazon's released, but we're not 100% sure. But if I had to put money on it, I would say for sure Rand is going to be there, and probably Tom Marilyn as well. We may get to see Moraine and Lan at the same time, which would be a smidge different than what happens in the books, but I am hoping we get to see Varen Sedai there too. We really don't have enough information to make any educated guesses, but I still like to speculate just a little bit. All right, so the next casting is this gentleman right here. This is Jonathan Hawkins. He is a stage actor that's been in a number of different productions, and he's very, very talented, although you probably wouldn't recognize him from film or television because he hasn't done much of that at all. He's going to play a character in the second season by the name of Brian. So, for those of you that remember, way back when, before season 1 released, Amazon and Sony used to do official casting announcements on Twitter, and they released a casting announcement for the character by the name of Steve. That was the very first time that anyone in the fandom really thought that they would use a common, normal-sounding, everyday name for a character. Steve didn't really fit the motif of Wheel of Time that we thought. And here we have Brian. So I think he's our Steve for season 2. Now, there's a whole lot of mystery surrounding Steve from season 1 because no one's really found him in the season yet. There's been a whole lot of speculation on who he could have been, how he fit in, but no real concrete evidence on which character that actually was. And I'm wondering, is Brian going to be a placeholder name for season 2, or will Brian be our season 2 Steve? He could be an innkeeper, a warder, a guard. He could be absolutely anything, but we really have not much information on how he's going to fit into the season. So I want to hear your comments down below and thoughts on how Brian's going to fit into season 2. Is he going to be, I don't know, a guard, a white cloak, an innkeeper, or do you think that they're going to hide him, much like they hid Steve in the first season, and then kind of help us with another puzzle to find, I guess is the best way to put it. So let me know your thoughts down below. Now, we're going to talk just a bit about this. This is the behind-the-scenes video on Set Design that Amazon released about a week ago. I've left a link to it down below in the description box. It is an interesting watch. It's very short. It's about 5 minutes long. However, it's got some cool stuff in there. Rafe Judkins does a voiceover for a lot of it, and it's a little bit of an interview with him. They talk with the production designer. They talk with a couple of the directors and the cast. They talk about the ways and how they built certain sets, what the vision was for Wheel of Time, how they wanted to use natural landscapes and occurrences without them feeling like with them feeling a little bit different, and they all kind of tied in together. It's a really interesting watch, really cool. They did touch on the fact that they lost some of the locations and they had to think quick on their feet. Really interesting stuff there. Nothing new, so there's nothing in there that we hadn't already heard before, seen before, so no new pictures or video. This is all season 1 stuff, although really a very neat watch either way, and I'd highly recommend, if you're a big fan of Wheel of Time, to watch this. This is the sort of thing that I would expect to see on, say, a Blu-ray copy, a physical copy. Now, we did get one of those recently I did a video on it not too long ago, and it had no extras whatsoever. So these are the kind of things I would expect on that, but they're releasing them for free for us on YouTube, so that's better in my opinion. I would like to be able to watch them whenever I wanted, and here they are. They're on YouTube. So again, link to this is down below in the description box. A very neat watch if you folks want to check it out. You get to see some of the thought and work in behind a lot of the set design, which is absolutely beautiful and immaculate in my opinion. Now, a couple of housekeeping things at the end of the video here before I let you folks go. The first one is make sure you check out my Talking Wheel of Time with series. My first episode was with Claire Grant. There is a playlist here in the channel for it. And yes, it's the Claire Grant. Absolutely amazing. We had a great time. If you're unsure of who she is, she played Lots Rossi in the Clone Wars. She did voices for a lot of the Marvel animated movies, including Hulk and the Agents of Smash, Robot Chicken. She did a bunch of different things. Like, we're talking all kinds of stuff. Way back in the day, it was Team Unicorn. If you don't know who they are, just type in Team Unicorn into YouTube. It's a whole lot of fun. She is the paragon and pinnacle of geekiness, and it was an absolute pleasure to sit down with her, and really, really very neat to hear her thoughts and feelings on the Wheel of Time. Yeah, check that out this Tuesday. Again, it is scheduled right now, so it will come out regardless of what happens here, which I'm going to touch on here in a second. We have Christy Luss, a screenwriter. She's going to come on and talk just a bit about the Wheel of Time, how she came to like it, her favorite characters, her relationship with Sarah Nakamura, and she has a couple funny stories about Sarah too, which is kind of interesting. You're not going to want to miss this one. Now, why is that video scheduled, and what am I going to say about the next couple of weeks of the channel? Well, for those of you who know where I'm situated, we have a Cat 3, possible Cat 2 hurricane hitting us later this evening. So they're talking extended periods without power, extended periods without cell service. So there may not be much content for me in the next week or two. I have no idea how long we're going to be sitting without power. I do have a generator, and we're all stocked up and ready to go, and we're not too concerned about it, but it might be hard to actually make content for the channel. So I have scheduled my Talking Wheel Time with to come out this Tuesday. Hopefully by then we'll have power back, and I'll be able to make some more news videos and do some stuff in the Cosmere and things that I do want to release. It's all done. I just finding time to release it the next week or two. So keep a watch on the channel for that. So click your notification bell, turn that on so you don't miss any of the videos that do come out in the next little bit. And here's to hoping I keep power, or at least get it back fairly quickly, so I can make some more content for you folks. All right. Thank you so very much for sticking with me here to the very end. And here's to many more.